Today is Workers' Day, and also we celebrate today the feast of Saint Joseph the Worker. The trade of Joseph as a carpenter is known to us from the gospel text of today, which is taken from the Gospel of Matthew chapter 13, verses 54 to 58. In these verses, Jesus has come back to his hometown and people identify who Jesus is. And one of the marks of identification is not this the carpenter's son? The carpenter, meaning Joseph, they did not realize, however, that Joseph was the foster father of Jesus. They thought he was the father of Jesus, but he was the foster father. But we come to know the occupation of Joseph through this particular text. In the first reading that is chosen for the feast, we are given a narration of the creation of the universe. But more important than the creation of the universe is what happens on the seventh day. The text tells us that on the seventh day, God rested. The text is not saying that God was tired. The text is not saying that God was weary. The text is not saying that God needed physical rest. What the text is saying is that God distanced himself from his work. God went back, God retreated in order to look at his work from a distance, because God is not God's work. God is not only what he does. What God does and God's work are an extension of God. And because human beings are created in the image and likeness of God, today on Workers' Day, we need to keep this in mind. That we are not merely our work. We are not only our work. We are not only our actions. Our actions and our work is only a small part of who we are. Our being is much, much more than our work. Saint Joseph realized this. And so, as in the second reading of today, he was able to put on over all his clothes the gift of love, the gift of thankfulness, the gift to be able to see from a distance, to be able to retreat and to look at things from afar, because he realized that his work was only an extension, a part of himself. Too often, we identify ourselves with our actions. Too often, we take great pride and pleasure in the externals of life. The feast of today, and on this Workers' Day, each one of us is called to go back and to look at our lives, to look at ourselves, to look at our work from a distance, and to realize that it is only an extension of who we are. When we do that, then we will be able to take much more joy in the work that we do. There will be no Black Monday or Blue Monday for us, because we will have put ourselves entirely into what we are doing. If we are able to distance ourselves, if we are able to remove ourselves from our work at least once a week, if not more often, then the work becomes joyous, the work becomes joyful, the work never becomes a chore. If our work is becoming a chore, it is likely that we are too attached to it. If we are not enjoying what we are doing, it is likely that we are not doing it as we ought to. We need to take a cue from God himself, who after 6 days of creation was able to retreat and look at God's work from a distance. If we can do that today or on any other day and look at ourselves from a distance, then we have celebrated with Saint Joseph we have celebrated our work, then our work not only becomes more efficient, it also becomes efficacious. A happy Workers' Day, a happy feast of Saint Joseph to everyone.